What's up, guys? Welcome back to Young, Hot, and Divorced. I'm Tori, and if you have been listening and are enjoying this podcast, please make sure that you hit follow on wherever you are listening or watching this. Um, Today, I have something that I am looking forward to talking about because it's truly something that's going on in my life right now and something that I'm experiencing that I think is like emotional growth for me, which I don't know. I think I've been pretty stubborn in the past about like what I would quote unquote allow or tolerate. And I'm realizing that, hear me out. I'm not like totally confessing, but like I might have been a little bit wrong about some things. So that's a tough thing for me to admit, but we're growing over here. We're growing. So call them growing pains. Anyway, a little life check in. My boys had a weekend with their dad this past weekend. And naturally, I feel like anytime you send some boys over to hang out with their dad, they're going to come back with some injuries. And they sure did. So Jackson got his first black eye. And when I say black eye, I mean like a real black eye. And these days, I feel like if you don't explain to the teacher what happened, they're automatically going to like basically start an entire investigation in public school. And I wanted to get ahead of that. So I messaged the teacher and let her know what happened ahead of time. And she appreciated the heads up. And luckily, Jackson's fine. He's not in any pain or anything like that. So, yeah, no big deal. But just funny and ironic that that kind of thing seems to always happen on dad's watch. So, what happened is that the brothers, Shay and Jackson, apparently like head butted and luckily, that's all it was. In other fall news, I baked my first pie. I know, crazy. So I'm just going to say, like, sort of learning to like cook and bake and not order in as much. And I made a pie. I love apple pie. And it never even occurred to me to make a pie, but we went apple picking a couple weeks ago and we had all of these apples. So it was like, what better thing to do with it? So for my first pie, I'll say it was pretty good, but overall, I could use some work. That's for sure. I think I used too many apples and it was like a little too juicy. So we'll try a little less next time. In other fun weekend fall event news, we went to this oyster festival and it was a lot of fun. It was like small town vibes, which I don't think I've experienced in a while. Like in Miami, there's no cute neighborhood festival type things with like traditional food stands. It's funny because like we'll have the bougie coffee shops in Miami, like doing some sort of street fair, but here it's like local vendors and you get like junk food and it was really fun. The only thing I don't know if you could say like complain about, but I think personally, I just hate being in like a super crowded space with a lot of people. It's just like not the most comfortable thing in the world to me. So that was minorly overwhelming, but overall, it was a great time. I had a really good oyster and we had fun. The kids these days, I don't know if it's like the beginning of school, if it's that there's like a million holidays going on right now, like Halloween, whatever, but they have to wear like a different outfit. It's pajama day, or today they had to wear orange, or one day it's like spirit wear. I don't know, but there are a million days where like we're dressing the kids up in all of these themed outfits. And I think that that's one of the hardest things to stay on top of because, like, you don't want your kid to go to school and be the one kid that doesn't have the right outfit for the day. So it's really important to stay on top of. But there's a million days, and it's like, whose idea is this, honestly? And I'm sorry if you're watching this and this was your idea, but like, can we minimize it a little? I don't even know why they're really wearing orange today. It's like love and kindness day or something. I feel really bad if I'm like insulting somebody that spent like a lot of time organizing this day and other days. But like, can we have the days without the required dress wear? Because I am all for it. But not only are we putting the kids in certain clothes, but there's also like this other aspect to it where you have to order the clothes. So either you're like buying it at some sort of PTA event or you're putting an order in, but it's like staying on top of ordering it, wearing it, what days to wear it. I don't even know why they're wearing it. It's just a lot. And in other kindergarten overwhelmingness, I think I've said this before, but the homework is just absolutely insane. So School is definitely keeping us busy. We've also been spending a lot of time with my boyfriend's family, and that's been really nice. They have been so warm and so welcoming, and the boys fit right in. There are so many nephews and like a few nieces, but mostly nephews, and the boys are having the best time like playing with all of these older cousins, and it's just really nice and reassuring that my kids are so comfortable in this relationship as well. So things are going well there. And now to get to the point of the episode, which is that I started doing something new and it's been pretty therapeutic so far. We haven't gotten like too far into it, but the idea has started and it's kind of this whole like cleansing of the past and like getting rid of things that don't serve you anymore. Specifically, what I've been doing is starting to sell certain items that I've acquired over past relationships. And there's a reason why I'm selling it. I've held on to these things for a really long time, and I don't think I was ready to sell them until now. I enjoyed them, first of all, but also I'm somebody who looks back on past relationships and thinks fondly of them. And these items just constantly make you think about that person or whenever that occasion was that you got that present for or something like that. And I don't think that's really healthy when you're starting a new relationship. And I clearly did that in my past relationships. So I think that I was probably making a mistake. And if I was or wasn't, I'm going to find out. But I'm trying something different this time around. And something that I would typically say is that if you can't handle like how close I am with my exes, you can't handle me. And thought about how I would feel if he said that to me. And I understand my relationship with my exes, but like nobody else would. And is it so innocent? I'm not sure because on my end, I'm pretty sure it is. But on their end, I've learned that men don't think the same way that women do. And they're not reaching out to you unless they think they're getting something in return. And I'm not interested in being reached out to like that. I agree that it's important to cut off communication with people that don't need to be in your life anymore and can be seen as disrespectful to your new relationship. It's like, obviously, you wouldn't want that done to you. But I think that I had this boss bitch, tough, like, don't mess with me, everything I say goes type of attitude. And it's also been brought to my attention. Again, I've said this like in a couple of episodes ago that Charlie Kirk really kind of changed or brought to mind this concept that I want the male to be the alpha in my relationship. And if I keep trying to be that, it's not going to work. So something that makes me laugh is that my boyfriend, I'm sure you know, have seen by this point that he's a cop. So I remember when we first started dating and like the first time we were probably like sleeping with each other, not like that, but like sleepover sleeping, which like obviously that happened too. So we were sleepover sleeping and I usually sleep on a certain side of the bed and it happens to be the side of the bed that's closest to the door. And I had never heard of a man having a preference to sleep by the door in case there's an intruder. And I'm like, fuck that. Like, I got the intruder, sit down. Like, I'm going to kick this guy's ass. And I truly believe that. Like, I have always believed that. But I need to, like, learn, and I'm learning. This is like a growing and learning experience to let him be that protector. And who the fuck do I think I am thinking that I'm going to get the bad guy when he's literally a police officer? Like, it's his job. I'm so stupid. But that was just like the quintessential moment of reflection where I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't want to be that person. And he is that person. I need to let him do what he's good at, which is that. So figuring out how to make this relationship different than my previous relationships is something that I am actively doing right now. And I think that it's making things a lot better. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely like a growing curve to this. Like this isn't an overnight success by any means, but I wanted to talk about the things I've been selling and why I've been selling them. I want to preface that nobody is making me do this, and it is not out of spite or bitterness that I am suddenly getting rid of these items. It's just that they're tied to memories. It's certain jewelry, certain handbags. You've probably heard me talk about a couple of them in certain episodes, but it's like these things truly mean nothing to me anymore. And I would rather have, I keep saying, a cozy blanket over a new handbag. And you might know me or not know me and be like, what? Excuse me, I would absolutely rather the handbag. Well, let me tell you, because I've had the handbags and I still have some handbags. Let's not get like carried away. But what I would rather at this point in my life and in this relationship is that we have a cozy blanket for the couch so we can all cuddle together. The kids, my boyfriend and I, just like on the couch and cuddling in like the coziest blanket is so much more rewarding and of so much more value than a handbag that mostly sits on a shelf. So, realizing that the physical things are contributing to emotional clutter is something that I've never even thought of or connected to. But as they're leaving and as I'm preparing to sell them and get rid of them, it's not only just emotionally cleansing for the situation, but also there's no space for this shit in the house. I don't need to be holding on to things that no longer serve me at all or no longer serve our new home. So, like, good riddance is the truth. Okay. So, what we do here is get brutally honest. And I'm about to get brutally honest. And the honest truth is that right now in my life, I am financially fucked. Like, fucked pretty hard. I am in a lot of debt, and that debt has been accumulated over the past year or so. When I was in Miami and didn't really know where things were going to go, I was working a little bit part time, but as you heard, I was sick and I had seizures and I had a hysterectomy, and it just like really wasn't possible to be working and be a mother full time with all of these ailments. So I was maintaining our lifestyle on credit cards, and that's what I felt like I had to do at the time. Was that a good decision? Maybe not. But do I see a way out of this? Yes. So it's something that consumes me basically daily. But by selling this stuff, I think there's some sort of aspect where my past is serving my future. I am using my past to fund my future. And there's something that feels really good about that. I'm going to be honest that what I'm doing right now to me, and you can think of it however you would like to think of it, but I see it as being resourceful now, not shameful. I don't feel ashamed that I'm selling this stuff. I had it. I liked it or didn't like it. Some of this stuff still had tags on it and like hasn't even been fully opened. It's just something that's not serving me in its physical form, but is able to serve me in another way. And that's just an added bonus at this point. But I'm not really feeling like I am able to provide financially as much as I would like to. Child support does not cover the lifestyle that we lived before or even fucking close. So we're totally adjusting to a new way of life, and I'm actually enjoying it. Like, there is some return to simplicity, and by getting rid of these crazy ass things, $10,000 necklaces, like this was my norm at one point, but I'm realizing that it's not the norm, and I don't fault myself so much for not being able to see that. But like I said, with the cozy blanket versus a new bag, there are just so many other priorities at this point in my life that do not revolve around materialistic things. So I'm not going to lie that I lived a certain lifestyle and was in this like rich bitch era because I could at one point. And truthfully, I didn't know much else growing up. I'm just trying to reframe this entire financial situation right now and realize that I'm just readjusting my priorities. And it just also so happens that this cleansing of the physical gifts and things is able to fund my future and help me get out of debt and help with this whole clean slate, fresh start. So, with this change, I have been putting a lot of thought into what I used to value in a relationship and what I value now. And like I said, I think that having kids just completely reframes that. The kids are a lot older now, and my decisions affect them so much more. I'm just completely 180ing on what I thought I knew. So I remember the first and the second time that I got engaged, I told both of them that I didn't care about the ring and I didn't care about the proposal. And that was a lie. And it's not because I cared about, the materialism of the situation. And that's where I got a little bit confused. I cared about the investment that it symbolized. And in both situations, there was no investment made. So those items that should have had some significant value didn't. And my second engagement ring was a lab grown diamond. And no shame to anybody who has a lab grown diamond or anything else. I truly, I'm not going to lie, I thought that that would be okay for me. And I'm now realizing that that was probably a symbolic red flag moment. It's like, how do you start off a relationship or a marriage with a fake diamond? It just kind of has this symbolism that it's not real and it's not valued. And I'm now realizing that it's the value in the relationship that it represents. And I have this new thought process to material things that might be given to you as a gift. I think that if you're given these gifts all the time and it's like the norm to go out and like buy a Chanel bag on the weekend, those things completely have no value. And like I said with my engagements, it was just run of the mill. The first time I was proposed to was in a train station parking lot. So like weird. And then the second time I was proposed to, it was at the hotel where I had my first wedding. So like also weird. There's just this new feeling on what items that are given to you that have some sort of value should actually be representative of. Otherwise, what's the value? I mean, right now they're being sold. So like it's a couple bucks, but like emotionally, there's no value. And that's why I'm able to get rid of these items so easily. So I think that in bringing new things into my life, whether they be physical, emotional, whatever, I want to bring things into my life that have this new meaning of value to me. I had an episode that was all about self-care and just prioritizing myself and letting go of bad vibes and energy. And I think that by doing this decluttering, which is physical and also emotional, I'm making space for not only new physical things, but new emotional and financial decisions as well. And that's growth. And it's like, am I actually growing up now? I don't know. Do you think I am? Maybe there's something that changes when you really enter your 30s. Like I just turned 31 and suddenly I'm grown up. Maybe that's a thing. But I'm grateful for these past experiences where I did have these relationships where I got these items or was gifted these things. It was a really good lesson. I think that without that experience, I wouldn't be able to be where I am with that sort of growth. I always like to end things on a good note. So I'm going to say thank you to my exes who taught me this lesson. And I'm looking forward to this fresh, clean slate in the future. So thank you guys so much for listening. I'm Tori. This is Young, Hot, and Divorced, and I'll catch you next week.